Good evening. So tonight I wanted to talk about motivation or the lack thereof. I get the comment a lot of times that I just can't get motivated to exercise or work out. And what can I do about that? Well, I kind of want to go over that tonight. And if anybody has any ideas of what do you think motivation is? Put that down in the chat. So I've said that with exercise, um, motivation will get you started, but it's discipline that will keep you going. So while motivation is important, and you really do need to find ways to stay motivated, and we're going to go over that tonight. Ultimately, it's discipline. It's just making yourself continue to do that. However, there are things that you can do to keep that motivation or, start that up. So I want to go over some of those right now. And I wrote some of these down. I didn't put them in any kind of order. I just kind of wrote them down as I was thinking about them. So, first and foremost, remember your why. Why are you even exercising? Why are you wanting to do this? Well, for most of us, it's going to be to better our health. And as we age, then it's even more important to do something just to keep us healthy. And if you have kids or grandkids, you want to be able to keep up with them as well, because we all know they're high energy. They've got a ton of energy. So we want to be able to keep up with them as well. But then just to be able to enjoy our later years as we get older. And if you're in bad health, if you don't have the capability to be able to do some things, then that can be very frustrating as we get older. And a lot of people find that they can't do the things that they did when they were in their 20s. However, you can always start no matter what your age is. Now, will you be able to do things exactly like when you were in your 20s? No, probably not. However, you can still do things. And I have proven that to myself and others that as I age, then I have done a bunch of different obstacle runs and stuff like that with my kids. And, it's just something that we can do together and it pushes me. And so that's just something to, kind of keep in mind is what are some of your goals? And it may not be to do obstacle runs. It may just be able to do more walking. And if you're like in a mall or someplace like that or at a park, to be able to go for walks and be able to um, increase that. And just that does so much, just not only for your strength, but also, especially your endurance and your cardiovascular. So have some sort of a goal, something that you can keep out in front of you. And remember that when you start to lose some of that motivation and you kind of want to quit, then you want to be able to remember what that goal is to keep you going. Also, start small with your goals. Now, when I did my first Tough Mudder, which is a big obstacle run, it's kind of the granddaddy of obstacle runs. For those that don't know what that is, it's anywhere from, depending on where you're at, it's anywhere from about 10 miles to 12 or 13 miles with about 20 plus different obstacles. Anywhere from crawling over walls and climbing ropes and um, trudging through muddy uh, tunnels, and they have a whole bunch of different things, and they're fun. They definitely push you. um, and so I got it into my head that I wanted to do that. with my son and some of his friends. And, but I didn't just go out and just do it. I mean, that would be kind of silly. You're asking for injury, and it just is not a good idea just to start with that. So I started with smaller goals, and I started with just doing some workouts and looking forward, maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, and being able to build on those. I um, hired a personal trainer, and this was before I was a trainer myself, but um, I did get somebody to help me with that. And she helped me by holding me accountable and giving me different things to do and keeping that goal out in front of me. And so, like I said at the very beginning, having that goal. But then I set smaller ones. So, besides just doing the workouts, then I did some smaller obstacle runs. So, like 5K type obstacle runs. And so, once I was able to do some of those, then I knew I could move on further and do a Tough Mudder. And so I did that like 7 years ago, something like that. And I was over 50, and that was my first one. So, you're never too old. And I'm not saying you have to go out and do Tough Mudders or anything like that, but you're never too old to start. If you haven't been doing any kind of exercise, you're never too old to start doing something and bettering your health. But also in that process, plan for some imperfection. And if any of you are like me, I kind of lean toward perfection. And so people like that, we tend to think in black and white, all or nothing. And so a lot of times people will think, well, gosh, if I can't work out X amount of times during a week, or I can't do this, or I won't be able to do that, I just won't do anything at all. That's not good. And so even doing a little bit of something is going to move you toward your goals. So um, try to get rid of that black and white, all or nothing thinking, and just do it. And just remember, it's for your health, and not just physical, but it's good for your mental health as well. And along the way, track your progress. If you're not doing that, then you're not going to be able to see the progress that you do. So for myself, I write down all my workouts and the weights that I lift, because then that way I can go back and I can see how I have progressed in the amount of weight or the amount of reps, or whatever it is that I'm working on. I can see that progression. And so track what you're doing so that you have some way to be able to judge, because we kind of get lost sometimes in that, and we forget to take a look, and we don't really feel like we're making any progress. But it's helpful to look back and be able to see that progress. And then when you actually meet some of those smaller goals, then reward yourself. And it doesn't have to be anything big. Go go do something fun that you enjoy doing. Go to a concert, go to a movie, something like that. Don't always reward yourself with food. That's kind of a thing that some people get trapped into. It's like, oh, well, I've done so good and done this, so I deserve this huge meal, or, this whole cake, or, whatever. Don't fall into that trap either, but reward yourself in some way that helps you acknowledge yourself that you were able to achieve whatever that goal was. And also practice gratitude, and keep a positive attitude. I think those two kind of go hand in hand, because if we can stay grateful for things, then that just changes our mindset. And so having a positive attitude definitely will help you with motivation. So if you come across something that is negative, especially if it's your own thoughts, then change that to a positive thought and just kind of try to reframe that. And it's amazing what just doing that will do for your motivation as well. Get a friend to join with you. So whether it is going for a walk or going to the gym, going to a Zumba class, going out dancing, whatever. It's always a lot more fun when you have a friend to do it with. So, and gosh, with technology the way it is, you don't even have to be in the same town. You can, through Zoom or even just a phone call somebody, and while they're working out, you're working out, going for a walk, whatever. And it can make it a lot more fun, but then also holds you accountable as well. And that's another thing is get an accountability partner, somebody that will check in with you, or you can check in with them to make sure that you are doing what you said that you were going to do and wanting to do. And like I mentioned before, I hired a personal trainer to be able to help me, not just with the exercises, but to hold me accountable, to make sure I was doing everything that I needed to so I would be ready for that race. And so, and like for myself, when I'm working with someone, I customize everything specific to that individual so that depending on what their goals are, then we work toward their goals. They're not my goals. I mean, I could just cookie cutter things, but that's not going to get everybody what they want and what they need. And so find somebody. I also do online. I'm going to do a little plug. I also do online training because we've got technology now. But if you want somebody in person, get somebody in person that can help you with your goals specifically, and not just cookie cutter type stuff, and hold you accountable. So, or for accountability, again, just have a friend. But accountability is even better if they'll do workouts with you. So, kind of a bonus there. Um, and gosh, probably one of the most elementary things with motivation is just start. It's amazing how we spend so much time in our mind thinking about doing something that if you will just start, just do something, even if it's small, just do something. And it's amazing how the motivation just kind of follows as well. And um, for myself, I have a playlist of a whole bunch of different music that gets me fired up and pumped up, and it's got a good beat to it. And whether I'm walking or lifting weights or whatever it is, I have a playlist of some of my favorite music to work out to. And so find something like that. Sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. It just kind of helps your brain while you're doing a physical workout. So you're kind of doing both. So figure out what works best for you. But, music is huge in so many different things. And it also can definitely help you in your exercise and your workouts as well. And another thing, kind of thinking about the goals, and like I said, remind yourself of those and keep those out in front of you. Kind of to expand on that, imagine yourself in the future. And if you didn't do anything now to take care of your health and your fitness, where would you be? Would you just be sitting on the couch, not able to do much because you just don't have the strength? Your joints hurt. You can't play with your grandkids or your kids because you just physically can't. You don't have the endurance or the physical ability to do some of the things. So think about that. And if you don't want to be in that kind of a position, start doing some exercise. Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't mean you have to spend hours in a gym 7 days a week. There are so many other things that you can do. And I've talked about some of those in some of my other videos. But if you have any questions, then of course, always you can contact me as well. But think about that. And as we get older, it's so much more important. You will pay one way or another. You will either pay with poor health and fitness, and a lot of times because of that, you're going to have more medical bills, medications that you're going to have to maybe take, or you can pay by doing the physical work and actually doing something good for yourself. And it becomes to where you don't really feel like you're paying for it. Then I know for myself, I look forward to my workouts. It helps me physically, but mentally as well. So just kind of think about that and weigh that out. One of my mentors, we were just kind of talking about motivation just in the last couple of days. And one thing that he said that really kind of hit home and made a whole lot of sense around motivation is you don't lose motivation. It's not something that you can look around the house and under a rug or behind a chair or something and try to find it, because you don't lose it. It's always still inside. You just have to be able to draw that out. So some of these things that we talked about today are things that you can do as well to be able to summon that up. And another thing that he said, just a quote, and I think is good, is ambition is a practice, but motivation is a habit. So get that ambition going and just make that part of your lifestyle to keep you going. And if you do need any help with accountability, having somebody kind of kick you to get you going, that type of thing. Or if you just really don't know what to do for exercise, then contact me and we can set up a one-to-one call, just chat a little bit about some of your goals and see where you want to go and see where I might be able to help you. So have a really good evening, and we will see you next week. Take care.